Welcome, welcome, welcome to a happy 4th of July Independence Day edition of the ProFootballDoc Sports Injury Central podcast. And our dedicated crew is in studio today. And we have a great guest. I mean, if you're talking July 4th, you have to bring up America's pastime, baseball. And there's no better baseball authority and insider than Bob Nightengale, USA Today. And Bob, thank you for coming on. I mean, to tell the audience, you and I have never met or chatted, yet you were kind enough, through Twitter and DM to accept an invitation to come on the podcast. So we really appreciate you, especially for this holiday.
Yeah, my pleasure, Doctor. Yeah, I heard all about you and used to live in San Diego, covering the Padres back in the day. So still got some San Diego roots there. My kids were all born there. So enjoy San Diego ties.
Oh, thank you. And the good stuff you heard about me is true. The bad stuff is all untrue. That's what they usually say, isn't it?
They all say, yep, I agree.
Yeah, but that's definitely it here. So since you bring up Padres, and just this past weekend, this 4-game Dodger Padres series, lots of things to discuss there. Machado, obviously Tatis not there yet, and even Mookie Betts. What did you think about that series and Machado and the whole situation?
Well, I thought the Padres have a better showing. At least they pulled out the Sunday game. Finally win there after, they haven't won a game there since, I think, April 25th of last year. They're still pitching great. The offense has been a problem. And they got exposed in the Dodger series. So it was good to see Machado back.
Yeah, and in the first 3 games of the series, my son watches every game, right? He's Tatis fan, then Machado fan, and now Cronenworth fan. And, he's a fan of all the Padres. But the Padres scored 4 runs in the first 3, really 3 in almost 4 games until the 9th inning. They scored 4 runs and finally got a win. 4 runs through 3 in almost 4 games isn't going to cut it, right? But that 4-run 9th really saved them. We missed it. We were out at the lake, and we actually went out on the boat after Machado struck out in the 9th. So we missed the rally, but we're glad to see it. Now, as far as Machado goes, I don't know if you've seen, Bob, but at Sports Injury Central, we have some former baseball docs. I covered baseball back in the day, but I don't have the same baseball experience as I have in football. I mean, I spent a little cup of coffee with the Cubs and with the Twins, but not like my head team physician football experience. But Machado clearly has come back quicker than expected, and that's credit to the Padres medical staff, training staff, and to Machado for toughing it out. But he's clearly not himself, right? I mean, okay, he played DH Thursday, missed Friday, played Saturday and Sunday at third base, made a nice play at third base, but what is he, 2 for 13 with 8 strikeouts? And everyone's pitching him away. And I think the jig is up. Like, instead of weight transfer from the right foot to the left foot and then rolling his ankle a little bit, which is his normal swing, and I think Justin has some video here he may show, he can't do that. He's either got to spin off his heel or be relatively flat-footed, and I think all teams are pitching him outside now, if you look at that. Is that what you've noticed, Bob, or what are you thinking? Just rust for Machado, or is he just – I mean, Manny's back, but it's not MVP Manny.
No, I think it's rust, and I was very surprised, really stunned that the Padres didn't put him on the injury list. I know he's got pride. He hasn't been there since 2014. But he missed 10 games, so they played a man short all that time. You could have used a person back then. So I don't know, what the situation was. Okay, do we not have anybody that's capable of coming off the bench and helping out? Are we really, keeping our fingers crossed and thinking he can come back, a couple of days early? Usually teams, are more conservative, say, you know what, we're going to put him on the injury list right away, and we're going to take our time. You better be 100%. I saw him in Phoenix, and, the first 2 days, he was just, gingerly running across the bag. I'm thinking to myself, this guy isn't close. And, not saying to rush him back, but he's, I don't think he's 100%. Give him that. He's a gamer. Some guys won't play unless they're 100%. He does, but I don't believe he's 100% yet by any means.
So Machado, I thought it was a great boost that he DH for the first Dodger game. I mean, obviously the Padres and Dodgers, they really, they each needed to win. And Machado got a all upper body swinging double where he slid into second base in the first inning, first at bat, and almost slid off the bag because he couldn't stop, right? I mean, because of his ankle. But
would have been a triple, maybe, right?
Maybe, but he would have. But he scored, and that was the Padres' only run there. But Machado, I think you're right, is just not there yet. But do you think this speaks to? I don't want to say this because they're my hometown team, right? And almost. I mean, they're hanging in there doing well, but almost desperation that they know that even Machado at 80% or less than 100% is a bat they have to have in the lineup, and Manny's willing to oblige them. And, especially with Alfaro with a bulky knee and then returning. I mean,
Will Myers is still out as well.
Yeah, they just needed him. They just need Manny. They need bats. They don't have Tatis. And so desperate times,
Yeah, I mean, the fact they played 10 games without Manny instead of putting him on the injury list, so it really was a waste of 10 days. I mean, does that mean they had nobody in the minor leagues to bring up that could help out offensively? Is the minor leagues that thin? No, Robinson Cano is doing well actually right now. I think he could have helped. But he's off the 40-man roster. So, yeah, I was surprised. Usually when a guy's even going to be out for 5 or 6 days, you slap him on the injury list. And then you get to, use those extra 4 or 5 days to make sure he's 100% healthy. This time it's like, hey, man, as soon as you're 70% ready, we're going to put you out there. And I think, it's a source of pride that he didn't go on the injury list. Maybe he said, please don't do it. I want this on my resume, on my career, that I want, I've gone 8 years now without being on the injury list.
No, that's impressive. Obviously, he was formerly an Oreo, and we all know Oreos have that long history of avoiding playing streaks and all this other stuff. But in any case, and even, there's some good storylines here. On the local broadcast, they said, Manny, quote, drove to L.A. from Phoenix, from Arizona, instead of the flight. We kind of chuckled at that internally. Look, I mean, it's not like he's flying Southwest and he forgot to log in 24 hours in advance and he has a C21 seat, right? I mean, it's a charter. It's 1 hour. You're with your athletic trainers. They can wrap the ankle. You can, on your charter, put your foot up. Now, it turns out he was driven, so hopefully he was driven in the back of a streeter van or something like, where he could really lay down. It's not like he drove with his foot down kind of thing, but it's all good for the story. It doesn't take away from the fact that he returned to play much earlier than anyone, you or I, expected. So good on him. Are you hearing anything on Tatis from the get-go? I don't know if you follow along when the Padres GM said 3 months. We at Sports Injury Central said 4 to 6. If he can come back right after the All-Star break, take it. That's a good result. And that's kind of where he's trending, right? Maybe not right after the All-Star break, but soon thereafter, we hope.
Yeah, exactly, Doctor. I talked to him on Tuesday by phone and saw him later on. But he said, he had a bone scan on Tuesday, x-rays, and everything was positive. Like, okay, in a couple of weeks, you can start swinging the bat. So precisely like you said, he's hoping to be back by the end of July, if not the first week of August. So if it goes past the first week of August, I think he'll be very, very disappointed.
Yeah,
I also asked him, what's going on with your motorcycle? He says it's sitting at home. I got to sell that thing. I'll be putting on eBay.
Collecting dust, right? Yeah.
I think the Padres will sell it for him. They'll delegate that task.
I think the Padres will buy it from him.
Right.
Look, I don't want to bang on Tatis. To me, look, he's a young superstar athlete. And, Bob, I've dealt with him before. He plays with his hair on fire. I mean, it's very hard to say, have a guy, personality-wise, plays with his hair on fire, but doesn't live life that way. Like, if you're throttled down on the one hand, you get throttled down. I mean, so I'm not excusing any of this, but yeah, he's got to learn from it. But the key is, how do you play with your hair on fire but not get burnt, right? And how do you live life that way? That's sort of the key. And he's obviously great there. But because of the bone graft, it takes longer. And the other thing I think that could have been predictable, and I didn't look at the schedule, I could have predicted that this week would have been, or that visit to Arizona would be, he'd get the quote clearance, this, that, the other, because that's where Surgeon lives. in the Arizona and Phoenix area. So he's going to go see the surgeon, get the scans. That gives the doctor the best feel for it. And yes, he does get cleared. Not to keep killing the Padres and Dodgers, but Mookie Betts came back pretty quickly from his rib fracture and played right field and so forth. But the question I want to ask you, Bob, have you noticed, I mean, it's always been the case in football. Hurry up, take an injection, play, this, that, the other. And I get it. And what I've always explained to people is, it used to be 16. Now it's 17 games in football. But to make the math easier, if it's 16 games in football and 162 in baseball, every football game is a 10-game winning streak, losing streak. Teams get upset. The Padres would be very upset if they got swept by the Dodgers. They're not happy that they lost 3-1 in the series. But imagine getting swept 3 straight series. That's what every week in the NFL is like. So players like, the culture in the building is you're doing everything to play. If you miss one series, that's like missing a game. Like one series in football is like missing a game in baseball. So you're trying to not miss any games because that's a 10-game stretch. But am I wrong? Or maybe because now we're covering baseball at Sports Injury Central and I'm paying more attention. You mentioned that teams seem to be more conservative, usually look at the long picture. That seems to be changing. Look at Mookie Betts. Look at Manny Machado. Is that imagine in my mind? Mookie Betts, I said, well, a month he'll come back. I think he was 2.5, maybe 3 weeks. Now, in baseball, they're not going to do a rib block to play like they do in football. It's a different deal.
June 15th was injury date, yeah.
So it seems like everyone's, I mean, maybe it's media attention to, the importance of every game now and dissecting, but it seems like the creep is coming to baseball. It's no longer just long-term. There's plenty of instances of let's go. What do you see?
A lot of times it depends on the individual. I know the Angels were frustrated with Anthony Rendon. So many injuries, nagging injuries, he's not playing. Where a guy like Mookie Betts that's been his reputation. I'm playing. The original plan was to have him start off playing second base instead of right field, so easier on the throws and stuff on the rib cage. So I think, unlike Tatis, Betts can control himself, more controlled game. Like, okay, I'm not going to push it here, where Tatis would be more of a daredevil. So I think a lot of it on this part with Mookie Betts is just trusting Mookie Betts that you're going to do what's smart here.
Yeah. Well, and you're right, Bob. One of the things I've always said is it takes 3 votes to return to play, and it has to be unanimous. The player, medical, and the team. So if the player wants to and medical says you're okay, but the team says, let's be conservative, you're not playing. If the player wants to and the team wants you to, but the doctor says you can't, like Tatis, you're not playing. Same if the doctor says okay and the team says okay and the player says, I just don't feel right, you're not playing. And so, yeah, it has to be unanimous. So you make a very good point there. Certain individuals really wanted to go back. But for Mookie's sake, with a rib cage, I was more worried about his torque and swinging the bat, as opposed to playing second field or second base or outfield. But either way, I mean, he's back and that's a good thing. By the way, I have my first time ever playing fantasy baseball with my son in a little father-son league. And of course, we had to draft Tatis anyways because that's his guy. He's got Machado, who's hurt. He's got Bryce Harper, who's hurt. He's got Ronald Acuna, who's hurt. He had Mookie Betts, who's hurt. Now, it sounds like an all-star league is because there's only like 5 kids. Okay? But I'm beginning to think my son is the jinx, or me, on some of these guys this year.
Yeah, at least Acuna's back, and I think he's a little banged up right now, but at least he's back from being out for so long. But yeah, I mean, how many times, Doctor, these players when they get hurt, when they get a interview by the media, I don't think I have to go on the injury list. I'll be back in a couple of days. They're out for 3 weeks, and then a lot of times the athlete's mindset is, hey, I'll be back quick. When they're not really, they're not doctors, obviously. Is more of a macho type thing. Look at me, I'll be back. Oops, the team's the one who said I should go on the injury list. I'm not saying it. I'm being ordered to go on it.
Yeah, no. There's no question.
I had a thought on Acuna too. I remember his first game after ACL. We were like, "Oh, he's gonna be like, play it safe." He had 2 stolen bases in his first game back, and we're like, that might be all him more than the team.
Well, no, but you got to understand ACL recovery there, right, Taylor? I mean, acceleration is good.
Yeah,
it's deceleration and cutting, which is playing in the outfield, right?
He could barely stop at second, though, when he did steal this.
Oh, yeah, he's sliding every time.
Yeah.
That's how he's going to stop. He can't overrun the base.
Sure.
But he's got straight ahead speed.
Yeah.
That's the recovery from ACLs. But to put him in the outfield and change the directions and, judging balls, that's where more danger is. That's where he tore it. What do you think about Scherzer and deGrom with the Mets? Where are they at? I know Scherzer's around the corner from coming back, but we, from the beginning, what was it? We put a Sports Injury Central score, 6 score on people for a game where before the season, we had deGrom 6 score at 68, meaning 68% of his overall production for the season, because we weren't sure that he was past all his injuries from last year, because it may not have been fully identified and or the root of the problem taken care of, and we're still iffy on him, whereas Scherzer, I think once he's back, which he is, I guess, this week,
Tuesday,
will be fine from his oblique strain. What are you hearing, and what's your thoughts?
Yeah, Max Scherzer did his injury rehab assignments, and he'll be pitching Tuesday for the Mets. He's going to start against the Cincinnati Reds in Cincinnati. deGrom just had his first rehab yesterday. Went 2 innings, throwing 100 miles an hour, which I think raised a few eyebrows. Like, hey. Let's calm down a little bit. Why are you throwing 100? You've been out for a year. So I think deGrom will be an interesting case. He can opt out of his contract and become a free agent, or take the, make about $32 million a year for the next couple of years. If he opts out, how many teams are going to be scared of his medicals? I mean, he's missed a lot of time here the last couple of years. When he's healthy, might be the best pitcher in baseball, how nasty his stuff is. But, you got to be out there. I'll be curious because he says he's going to opt out. When he does come back, is he going to limit himself to, 5 innings to start, 80 pitches? I don't see him going, pitching 7, 8 innings, throwing 120 pitches, knowing that he's at risk when he does that.
Yeah, and our concern is medically that it's not just one problem, right? It was a forearm strain, and then it was a partial UCL maybe, and then it was the shoulder, and then it's the latissimus, and then it's the scapular stress injury. I mean, all through the connect chain of throwing there, and I don't know that the root cause is gone yet. Hopefully it will be, but right now, our preseason 6 score 68 seems pretty prescient. He's missed essentially half the season so far. So maybe we're even too high with the
I think
68.
we dropped him to 62, actually.
Oh, we did? Okay, well, there you go. I forgot about it. But even 62 is too high, right? He's missed half the season. So he should really be at most in the 40s at this point. He's less than half the season left. But in any case, let's move on, Bob, to the big story that you've been all over and you have a strong take on. And I'm very curious because from the football side, I've been involved in some of these, quote, situations or pseudo-involved. Freddie Freeman, okay? So it seemed like the press Freddie Freeman was interpreted as blaming his agent maybe, and the agent was interpreted at maybe blaming the team. And your interpretation, tell us why you think Freddie Freeman is to blame.
Well, I think a lot of these players, and I see it athletes, in all sports, they forget the agent works for you. It's not the other way around. You're the one writing them the checks. You're giving them 5% commission. So you get the final call. So last spring they offered Freddie Freeman $110 million. And he, for 5 years, he said no. Then they raised it in August to 125 and then 135. And then it's kind of stopped there. I think Freddie's saying, man, I've been in this organization for so long. I've done so much. The team is raking in the money here with the crowds, the area called the Battery. I deserve more. And then where the dispute is, right after the lockout, they said, okay, we'll offer 5 years at 140. I don't think it would have made a difference, but I'm not sure that got conveyed to Freddie Freeman because it wasn't in writing. It wasn't a formal offer. 2 days later, Atlanta says, I can't wait anymore, so we're going to trade for Matt Olson. And all of a sudden, all his dreams came crashing down. So I think when he went back to Atlanta a week ago, just all those emotions came pouring out. Like, I never want to leave this place. I know I'm home in L.A. I grew up in Orange County, but I never wanted to leave Atlanta. Get a chance to go in the Hall of Fame with the organization. So I think then it's like, at first he was blaming Atlanta for saying, I can't believe they turned their back on me. And then after talking to the Braves officials, it's like, wait a minute now, maybe I never get all the information from my agent. The agent says, no, you got all the information. Don't let Atlanta or anybody else brainwash you. This is what happened. So the dispute will never go away. He fired his agency. He's not going back to it. He still has to pay him. He signed a six-year, $162 million contract with him. But he just it's a sad thing knowing a guy, even though he's getting paid $160 million, even though he's playing close to his Orange County home, is that unhappy that he left Atlanta. But he should have been the one controlling the whole narrative and said, okay, whatever you do, try to get me the last dollar. But if it looks like they're going to go a different direction, sign it. And that didn't happen.
No, well, I mean, I like what you're saying there. I mean, we won't know the truth, and the truth is always somewhere in the middle, right? But that's what I used to tell players all the time. Like, they'd come in and say, hey, I'm good, I trust you, but, my agent says I need this, that, the other. I said, okay, we can do what your agent wants to do. But there are times when players would come in and say, I don't want to do that, but my agent says I have to. I said, well, who works for who, right? I mean, the agent works for you, so you can dictate what you want to have happen. But, I look at agents this way. This might get me in trouble, Bob. Agents are, in the doctor world, you always deal with, I'm talking about for regular patients, well-meaning family members, right? A dad, an uncle, a sister that means well, that wants to take care. And in my doctor world, sometimes it ends up being the most medically oriented person is a phlebotomist or a dental hygienist. And they kind of have to come out and show they do care about their loved one who's been injured. And they come in with ideas that may not be exactly right, kind of deal. And as a doctor, you have to deal with them. And I look at it as an agent, as most of them have no medical training, no medical knowledge, yet they're trying to do the right thing for their players medically, which is sometimes not an easy decision to make. I won't mention any names, but this is the football world. We had, these injuries are known, so not a big deal. We had LT, LaDainian Tomlinson, with a toe injury, and an agent call in and say, hey, I want his scan sent here. I'm like, no, we already sent him to Dr. Anderson, the preeminent guy, the guy that, quite honestly, I started using, now the rest of the league uses. And then 2 years later with another player, the agent calls in and says, you got to send Gates's injury MRI to this doctor, my doctor. I'm like, don't you remember 2 years ago? I'm the guy who introduced you to this doctor, I mean, so they're well-meaning. But I will say this, Bob, if I had to do my team physician job again, I didn't talk to agents because the team said, you don't have to, we'll take care of it. I probably would have. That's one of my regrets, because if they would have heard me speaking and saying what I was saying, I think they would have understood that I was on the side of their player, and there would have been less fighting back and forth, right? I think an agent's job is to take care of his guy, a family member's job to take care of their family. And if I'm going to talk to the nurse or the whoever or the psychiatrist in the family who's the spokesperson from the family to show them I mean well, I probably should have talked to agents. So that's my bad, and have better lines of communication.
Well, I think a lot of times, too, it's just the agents don't trust the teams. And they think, okay, the doctors, the physicians work for the team, so they're going to go along with what the team says, I really noticed that a lot in football. I lived in, after I moved from San Diego, lived in Minneapolis. So I was right in the heart of Vikings country, and a bunch of Vikings lived in my neighborhood. And we talk about that stuff all the time. It's just the team, like you talked about earlier, will do anything, shoot you up just to get you on the field. It's like, hey, if you have a short career, we don't care. We want to win right now. And you see that some baseball too, particularly pitching injuries. It's like, hold on, let's make sure you're 100%. We want to get you right. We want to preserve you for free agency. So I think there just seems like a lot more distrust between the team and the agent.
There's no question. First of all, a sidelight. I mean, that's why we're destined to chat here on the podcast, because I was in Minnesota working with the Vikings, Timberwolves, and Twins a little bit, and then San Diego. So Vikings, Minnesota, San Diego. I guess I'm moving to Phoenix next, huh? Following your trail there. But you're right. I mean, I had one agent tell me when I was with the Chargers, he had a bunch of like middling guys. He sent out every ankle sprain for a second opinion. I'm like, it's just an ankle sprain. And then he would send me his Dallas Cowboys guys. So one day I called him and said, am I a good doctor or a bad doctor? You're sending me he goes, no, just because you're the team, it's just what I need to do. And I was like, okay, it is what it is. Anything else you want to cover here, Bob? I mean, we don't want to take too much time. I know it's July 4th. You got to get out I'm sure you've got some good plans out there.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, especially with this two sports different, it's like in football, some of the Vikings would come over to my house and I'd show them all the baseball contracts. And they were stunned that every penny was guaranteed. So, like in Tatis' case, stroke of genius by his agent to sign him to that long-term contract. If this was going on and he was going arbitration year by year, there'd be a lot of worry. Hey, what's this guy going to get come free agency? What's he going to get in arbitration? At least he doesn't have to worry about that. Whereas in football, except for a few quarterbacks, nothing's guaranteed. So, it's just so different the way I think the two sports are out handling things as well. And at least with the guaranteed contracts in baseball, the player can sit back and know, like, okay, I can do what I want. I can be reckless in base pass because I'm still getting every penny guaranteed. Where in football, you better be a little cautious here because they'll just spit you out and get someone else.
Are you saying that Tatis wouldn't have ridden his motorcycle? Or I'm just joking. or quite honestly, in fairness, remember Tatis still has his shoulder issue where he's chose not to have surgery, and the long-term guaranteed contract puts the power in his side of whether he wants to have that surgery or not, as opposed to the team. So you do bring up some great points. All right, Bob, thank you very much. Happy 4th of July. Happy Independence Day. And thank you for joining us here. And we'll continue on for the part 2 of the Pro Football Doc podcast as we cover some other things. But thank you so much for your time.
A pleasure. Thank you, Doctor.
All right, welcome back to the continuation of the Pro Football Doc Sports Injury Central podcast. We're not going to be that football heavy today. It's July 4th, and so America's pastime, baseball. At least we talk Wimbledon. But let me tell you, one of the more exciting sporting events in my household this morning was the hot dog eating contest. My kids, if you look on Twitter, they were glued to it. My son, he likes to sleep in, okay? Now, if he's got baseball to play, he'll get up and he'll be all dressed. This morning he was up. I was like, what's going on? He goes, yeah. He goes, what do you have? I'm ready to go. What for? For the party this afternoon? He goes, no, the hot dog eating contest. So he
was on it already.
That's appointment viewing, yeah.
His little buddy came over and they got their mom got him their July 4th Padre hats. I don't know if you saw on Twitter. Like, I guess the Padres today are going to wear some red, white, and blue.
All the teams do.
All the teams do. Whatever.
Team does, yeah.
So of course, mom got that ahead of time, and whatever.
Special hats, yeah.
Whatever. And so they had their little red, white, and blue Padre hats on and watching the Nathans. My little girls, they wanted corn on the cob this morning, so I made them for breakfast. My wife's at yoga. I got corn on the cob for breakfast at Nathan's hot dog eating contest. But anyways, this morning, you guys alerted me to this, and I looked at it because you sickos said, hey, what do you think about the hot dog eating contest? I'm like, what? Lines on the hot dog eating contest? And we took a look, and yeah, there's a lot of them, but what we wrote at Sports Injury Central, I think some people laughed at us, right? And I almost didn't want us to do it because, it's a sport. Not even, but whatever.
It's a competition.
It's competitive.
It's okay.
They got rankings.
It's a competition. Okay, whatever. It is. Okay. Now, I don't try this at home.
At all, yeah.
But try this at home if you want to. In past July 4th, I've had a modified hot dog eating contest where at least, and even then, the moms get a little bit upset about it.
Once they hear about it afterwards. Yeah.
And this is hard. My rules are a little bit different. one hot dog in 1 minute, but you have to completely swallow. You can't do the chipmunk in the mouth and whatever. Of course, anyone can shove the hot dog in their mouth.
Let it sit there,
Let it sit there. But try that if you want. It's not that easy. Like, most people can't do it. The little kids can't at all. I had a dad try and do it once, and he got close. To actually swallow the whole thing. It's not, because I can't imagine these guys eating all these. It's crazy. You see them on a platter, and it's this big. But here was our point of the article. I was asked, Joey Chestnut, he's got this ankle tendon something. Is that going to bother him? I didn't think directly that would have anything to do with it, but here's where indirectly we said, take the under. I thought the total was really high. You were telling me it's Taylor 76.5, which is over some books, which is over a world record.
That he set last year.
And last year he was 9 pounds lighter. He's 238 because he hasn't been able to work out. And most of the audience would say, who cares, 9 pounds? The bigger you are, the more you eat. The more you might eat because you're big, because you're just a big guy. But these contests, believe it or not to be grotesque, it's about stomach stretchability. And here's a little known fact. When you're heavy and you put on weight, you put it on your belly, but you also put it in your belly. The omentum and other structures in your belly have fat in it, inside the abdominal wall, which gives your stomach less room to expand. So if he's 9 pounds heavier, and let's say there's 1 pound of fat in your stomach, just one of the 9 is inside your stomach. I don't know the scientific percentages. A hot dog, how many hot dogs is 1 pound?
I was reading this morning that the 70 hot dogs or whatever it is, I think it's 16 pounds total that you're consuming. So
it's pretty significant. It's at least 5 hot dogs.
Right.
So if you got an extra pound of fat in your belly, you're 5 hot dogs under. But the other thing that you guys didn't even tell me about, I know you made money, and Taylor, I don't want to hear from you anymore about Shohei Ohtani didn't hit one time.
You've been giving me a lot recently. I give you that.
What did I tell you when I figured out his weights this morning? I said, what?
You said smash the under.
I said smash.
Yeah. Sometimes he says put a house, something. No, this one was you're very confident.
This is revisionist. I was like, smash the under. There's no way.
What do you have, 63?
63.
Yeah.
You could have done a ladder, Taylor. You're famous for that.
No, I honestly didn't see there was no alternate lines.
I know you look, too.
I did look. Yeah.
I know you look, too.
I looked.
You are a sicko. I don't even bet. I told my friends about it a little bit, but I'm in California, so I'm not going there. But in any case, I would have said bet the house, but you left us a key detail. During the broadcast, as I'm watching my kids, they said it's been a rough year for him because of his foot, ankle, whatever it was, that he's missed 10 other competitions.
Because he's been out since December, and they had the whole 4. Yeah, I did.
I would have said bet the house on the under. Yeah. You want to know why? If your stomach is a balloon that stretches, which balloon is going to blow up easier? One that's been blown up and air let out, blown up and air let out a bunch of times recently, or a balloon that's been sitting on the table not blown up at all?
Yeah, you're right.
If he hasn't been doing this.
You're practicing the stretching of the stomach.
The stretching of the stomach.
Right.
He's going to feel full and what have you. But
well, there were some places that had it betting not just the number, but like hot dogs per minute, like we were just talking about earlier. And his was at 745. 740. Yeah, and now it ended at 6.3. It was so far off.
Well, you were telling me by the time of quote tip,
it was 725. Yeah,
it went from 76.5 to 72.5, but it still was under.
Yeah.
But anyways, we don't mean to digress. But there are all sorts of medical fun things.
That talk of the town, July 4th. So
that was a good call to walk. You woke me up with that in the morning, and that was good. You basically woke me up with money, so I appreciate that. No more Ohtani for a couple weeks. I'll give you that.
It's a rough crowd. It's a rough crowd. Now, did you put that on your better profiles for Fantasy Pros and stuff?
I couldn't find that anywhere. I had to go a little offshore on that. So
okay. I'm going to say you put it on your better profile.
Yeah. Oh, true. You did. He did put my name on Twitter on the article. Yes, so it can be tracked. Yeah.
All right. Enough of hot dog eating. I can't. I can't even imagine. I don't think you can eat 5 hot dogs in 10 minutes, can you? I mean, it's just rough. Crazy.
No, you told me about what you just said, and I was like, I don't think I'm doing 1 minute at all. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, of course, in these rules, you know, the last minute they stuff 1 or 2 hot dogs in their mouth in the last second.
Yes, yeah.
And they, you know, chew it
get
down.
The last chew. It's chew.
What do they call it? They have a fancy name for it. You can't, well, throw up is what it is. You can't. In the contest, they have a special name for it. It's kind of funny. They say, I don't remember. Someone will write in or whatever you say. It's not regurgitate. You can't. I don't know. They say it on air, but I always thought it was a funny description. Anyways, on to quote real sports, not just competitions. What do you got there, Jacob?
Well, we got our 5 MLB storylines of the week, as we do every Sunday. I know holidays not an exception. Juan Soto had a little bit of calf injury coming up, so, I mean, the Nationals are way out of it. Got to think he's hitting IL, right?
I would think so. Calf injuries tend to linger and so forth, and who knows? I mean, at this point, look at the dates. If you put him on 10-day IL, he's still got the All-Star break in addition, and you know, he probably – is he an All-Star this year? I don't know.
He's got to be. I mean – who? Oh, Juan Soto.
Juan Soto is not. He's batting almost 200 this year. Yeah, he's kind of been slow this year to start.
Well, that shows you what I know. I don't know. At least I knew he was a good player.
He's a great player.
I didn't draft him anyway. That's why I have no idea.
Yeah. But the baseball stuff, I mean, it was great to have Bob Nightengale on. I mean, that's the funnest part about Twitter. I mean, I've never met Bob before. He started following. I follow him back. I DM'd him. He said, sure, I'll come on the podcast and talk some baseball and different things.
I didn't get to slip it in, but his son Bobby Nightengale is a beat writer for the Reds for the Cincinnati Enquirer, so he's gonna be checking out Scherzer on Tuesday when he's pitching against them.
Oh, okay, cool. I like that little nugget there. What else we got there? I know we have some football news. We have some basketball news. Tell me what you guys want to talk about.
Jaren Jackson Jr. Diagnosed with a stress fracture. I think we had it as a Lisfranc. 4 to 6 months.
I think it's going to be a fifth metatarsal
Jones fracture. You're right.
Similar to our guy Zion, who just signed that big deal, right? So obviously,
he said he couldn't sign it fast enough, too. By the way, me too, maybe. But
again, with the guaranteed money versus
I was going to say something, but I
saw your face. I was trying to get.
I was just about to say, what did he have to put down to grab the pen?
You're funny. Not a hot.
No, my bad. I shouldn't say that. That's just a holiday joke.
I think it's valid, though. I mean, we haven't seen him at a playing weight yet.
Look,
Joey Chestnut technically wasn't at a playing weight, right? So,
it's over. No. But here's the worry about Zion, and this is why we were confident in December that he wasn't coming back. That stress fracture injury. Look, it's much harder when you're bigger too, and the type of force he has and the type of player for a stress fracture. Once he had the initial setback, we said he was done, and he was. Obviously, the Pelicans have good confidence that he's going to be okay now, but this is what I always tell patients. Every pound of force, every pound of weight on your body is at least 5 pounds of force on your knee when you're walking. Now, if you're running and jumping, it's much higher. So imagine Zion and what he does to his foot, the amount of extra stress by extra weight. It's significant. So hopefully he'll be okay. But right now he signed his big deal, so congratulations to him.
We had a little thing on Zach LaVine, too, the 5-year, $215 million, most in Bulls history, and he's got the nagging left knee. I mean,
ProFootballDocs are a little bit, basketball docs are a little bit worried about that.
That's a question for you, Doc. Like, how much, if you were the doctor, do you get involved in the process and take account of that kind of stuff?
Depends. There's some GMs that I've dealt with, very little.
Right.
Some GMs from the jump and all the way through.
Is that showing how much they value you, or is that just you're not part of the process as much? Or?
It might be how much they value me. It might be how much they value medical.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It might be, it's hard to say. So I don't know what went into that decision and how much the medical staff was consulted or what their opinion was. Maybe we're worried for no reason. But just looking from the outside, there's some worry there to make it the biggest contract ever in the whole deal. But who knows? What's reported as contracts aren't always real.
Right.
I mean, look, breaking news, not really. every contract that an agent wants signed, everyone needs their piece out of the deal. The athlete needs what he wants in terms of money and security. The team needs what it wants in terms of having the player and the years and the control or whatever. The agent needs what he or she wants too. They want what? New clients. They want to be able to say, I got a record number. So if you get the report out as this record number, the fine point details sometimes are not as advertised. So I don't know. Maybe there are contingencies hidden in there for Zach LaVine's contract. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe there are some exclusions in there hidden, but they're not going to be reported because the agent, and I'm not hating on any agents. You're trying to grow your business and your brand, right? I mean, the XL guy and the Freddie Freeman, he's trying to protect his business and his brand and so forth. I think in that saga, the truth is somewhere in the middle. There may have been some miscommunication. There may be some revisionist history on the Braves' part where we love you, Freddie, and there may be some nostalgia. I mean, look, if we think back to, heck, you name it, I was a better athlete in high school. I remember being a better athlete in high school than I ever was.
It's like I remember it.
My memory, that fish I caught was, you remember the good times. You don't remember the bad, hopefully. And he's remembering good times and tears and who knows. I'm sure the truth, as Bob points out, somewhere in the middle. But athletes need to be responsible and more responsible for what their own business dealing is.
Well, I think Bob had a kind of interesting point in his column further down is Dansby Swanson, their star shortstop. He's contract year this year. He's represented by XL also. So I'm sure he's watching in the wings of what happened to Freddie Freeman, and he's going to talk to the team and hopefully start the process early.
Okay, I'm not going to get into this as I'm looking in the camera here. By the way, I have my July 4th shirt on.
Captain America, there you go. Yeah, Captain America. Yeah.
And I always put this shirt on now because I remember my kids were, I don't know, Davis. It was Davis. It might have been 4 or something like that. It could have been 3 or 4. We're like, hey, it's July 4th, and we're hosting our old house. You could see fireworks, so we hosted some little kids over. And I said, we'll make a sign. And he goes, oh, why? What's the occasion? We're having a party. And I said, well, it's July 4th. And he just kind of looked at me. I said, well, it's America's birthday. He's like, okay. And then later on the day, he said, yeah. He kept saying, and he wanted to make a little sign and color something and welcome people. He said, yeah. I said, what are you doing that for? He goes, well, yeah. He put out his little Captain America guy at the doorstep. He goes, yeah, because it's Captain America's birthday.
Like, that's what you said, Dad.
He said, yeah, that's what you said, Dad. It was America's birthday. Yeah. Okay. I mean, so I wear my Captain America for him. But lose my point. What was I talking about here?
Dansby Swanson.
Oh, yeah. Well, here's my point. If the Braves loved Freddie Freeman that much, wouldn't they have gone to the athlete / his agent and said, if you don't do X, we are signing Matt Olson and the ship will sail.
Trading for it. They traded for him. Yeah.
They're trading for it.
But that came together pretty quick after the talks broke down or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Sure, right. But I mean, that's where people blink, right? When it's a final. If you're going to final, wouldn't you relay that saying, look, we told you, you're not going to go and tell the other agent we're trading for Matt Olson.
Right.
You can't tip your hand like that.
Right.
But you could go back to the agent and say, we're not messing around. This is going down in the next hour.
Yeah, because Olson was going to get traded to another team. He was wanted by multiple people, so they were going to lose out on their option.
Right. So wouldn't you – I mean, now if Atlanta didn't pick up the phone and call Freeman's agent, then I got to say the agent's kind of right. I mean, the Braves are playing both sides of this.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, if they did and he didn't relay it, okay, that's a different story.
Right.
Now, if he did and he relayed it and Freddie Freeman said, they ain't going to do anything, then that's on Freddie, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, so I don't know where the blame lies. Probably in the middle, as I always say. When my kids are fighting, probably all 3 of them are to blame somewhere or another. Maybe one a little more than the others, but they're all in the mix.
One starts, they all fight. Right?
They're all in the mix. So, and Kim, no one fought this morning. We're good. Okay. Yep. All right. What else we got here?
Let's go to Beast of the Week. I think we're pretty good on baseball content. We're going to be churning out at 6score.com. We got, of course, all our fantasy relevant profiles. I think are pretty much up. We're moved on to O-line and then some defensive players before our preseason preview by team. So keep an eye out for that on the website.
All right, what do you guys got for Beast of the Week? I know we have some candidates here.
Yeah, so sticking with America's Pastime, the Jonathan Davis catch. I know it was a little earlier in the week. The kid from Brewers, who no one ever heard of him before the catch, but hell of a catch. Going back center, he dives, bangs his head in the wall, first grabbing his back.
Yeah, I mean, hope he's okay. He's probably hurt more than injured, but
he missed a day, and then he's back in the lineup next day. So
great effort. At first, I was like, "That's not a catch," but that was his hat falling off.
You saw something pop out. Something popped out.
Something popped out.
There's a doctor in you. I got to put something back.
No, I was like, I don't know the color of their hats, whatever. It looked like a ball that fell out, but no, that was a great catch on his part, no question. And that's what I'll tell you a fun story about yesterday. My son, we were at the lake, whatever, vacation. We're back here now for this July 4th barbecue he wants to go to. But he had this little round ball, whatever, and we're at the lake, kept jumping on the boat, and he kept saying to me, out of the blue, he goes, Dad, OBJ. So he wants to throw But the reason why I think of that is in baseball, it's throw me a diver. That's what these kids want to do now, right?
They want to dive, absolutely.
And by the way, I did text Odell. I said, "You're iconic." I mean, my son. I go, I'm not sure my son really. He just OBJ. That's all he said. OBJ.
Your wastebasket, you do Kobe, right? Yeah,
exactly.
Same thing.
I mean, I'm going to tell. I invited him to come on because Odell broke some news about
medically,
that he'd been playing. So. We'll see if he wants to do that. I mean, look, he's a good guy. We've exchanged some text messages and DMs, but it's not like we're best of friends.
We call him your pen pal. Yeah, we make fun of him.
You do?
Do we? What?
Not on air before, but no,
I know.
It's on record.
Privately. No, he kind of is a modern day pen pal.
For sure. No, it is.
I mean,
I don't know what else to call it.
Yeah, whatever. It's all good. We'll see if he comes on. But I think, look, all my kids have Jumpman logo stuff on.
Yeah.
They have no idea who Michael Jordan really is.
Absolutely.
I mean, Odell Beckham should have a Catchman logo or something,
should.
right?
Should be in the works. He's got his own gear, I believe. So
he's got some iconic logo or something. Anyways, keep going on Beast of the Week here.
Might be my personal favorite is Josh Naylor hitting a walk-off home run. They came back. I think it was 2 straight games they came back.
Oh, you're saving mine till third, huh?
Yeah, I'm saving this till third.
Okay. Sorry.
But Josh Naylor hits a home run the opposite way, walk-off, and then he's pumped. I mean, he's notoriously pumped, former Padre.
He's the biggest dude on the field by a lot.
He's massive. You're talking about a couple podcasts ago, there's no baseball bodies. He's a baseball body.
Yeah.
But the best part is Terry Francona comes out the dugout. He has a helmet in hand because he knows he's got to put it on right after to greet him. So he puts it on, and Josh Naylor headbutts him, and then he switches right back to the hat. That's knowing your players.
That's knowing your players, but I don't like that for Beast of the Week. Beast of the Week is your manager. You don't bring a helmet. You know it's coming. You don't bring a helmet.
Take the punishment.
You take
there you go.
So I can't go Beast of the Week on that one.
Crossing that one out.
That's Smart Man of the Week. It's not Beast of the Week. He
cerebral man of the week.
Yeah,
right.
he put the helmet on. I mean, look, I would have headbutted him with the helmet on. Okay, I mean, it's the players that take their helmet off in football and headbutt.
You'd be good. You could treat yourself right after. You'd be okay.
No, I would put the helmet on, or I'd get out of the way. I mean, but no, I can't give that Beast of the Week. No.
All right, we got another option. Yeah.
Taylor's personal favorite, T-Wolves, former #1 pick.
Oh, the Chestnut. I thought we were doing Chestnut.
Chestnut.
Yeah, headlocking the guy.
Well, we'll mention Edwards real quick. Right. He's throwing back shoulder bombs, just off-season stuff. Doc wasn't too impressed.
I don't know. I mean, look.
He's at his rivals thing, by the way. He's at Georgia, football. He went to Georgia Tech, which that's already scary for me already. But
hands down, the best athletes in the world you have to put up there are basketball players. I'm not denigrating football players at all, but they're bred more as specialists.
Right.
And here's a big, long, lanky guy who's obviously very athletic.
He's good at all sports. Apparently, he played baseball.
He's are we shocked he can throw the ball? I mean, and look, how many times have I said it's not arm strength? It's accuracy and knowing where, right? It's not whether you can hit a half-court shot. It's whether you can hit a three-point shot at 40%. I mean, it's accuracy. And I only saw that video once, but it came out of his hand a little funny, too.
He said he shot put it a little.
He shot put it a little. Maybe he could throw it even further. But let me tell you something. Long, lanky guys are very athletic. I've often said one of the most athletic guys I've ever seen, Antonio Cromartie on our team. I literally saw him kneel on one knee at the 50-yard line and throw it through the goalposts.
Wow.
That's
on a knee. Not running up, just stationary on a knee.
Just twist and throw, yeah.
When he was getting drafted, that was his first trait. Super athletic, Cromartie.
Yeah. So anyways,
absolutely.
All right. So our final one, Beast of the Week officially.
No guts, no glory. I looked it up, by the way. That's the motto.
The motto.
No guts, no glory. Remember, because you said the throwing up for the speeding competitions.
Wouldn't it be guts, no glory?
Yeah, or that. Yeah, guts, no glory. Whatever it is.
No, there's another word. Whatever. We'll come up with it that they used to use, anyways. So Joey Chestnut. Look, anyone who can eat. I'm not going to bash him for eating only 63 hot dogs.
That's a lot. Yeah, that's still a lot.
It's all records he set, so he's competing against himself half the time.
He has 15 championships. That's a lot.
Okay, he ate 10 in the first minute.
Yeah.
Do you know anyone who eat 10 in 10 minutes?
You're just talking about doing one in a minute.
I mean,
that's
he ate
hard.
10 in 1 minute.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
ridiculous.
Just crazy. And admittedly, he didn't swallow all 10. It's that
just whatever
in
he
your
has
mouth
once he hits the
rule,
mouth.
but still.
Super impressive, yeah.
But I love the science of it. As I was watching it, they were like, the halfway mark is not 5 minutes. It's really 3.5 minutes in. I was like, okay, we got this easy.
Yeah. And we had multiple people. He's like, oh, he's starting real quick. He's doing really well. Then I got all the text. He's slowing down. I was like, yeah, that's what's going to happen. Right? And then you had the heckler that came in and tried to, I think someone employed him to get the under too, right? Because he had to tackle a little bit somebody in the middle of eating hot dogs.
But here's the thing. How many referees they have there? The one holding the little slip thing and the one counting and the person bringing hot dogs. They don't have any security?
There should have been multiple.
I guess they never
people,
needed it before, but
I mean, and he put him in a headlock and he's still chewing?
Yeah.
We'll give him Beast of the Week.
Yeah.
That's a pretty
I don't know how
good-
you would do that as a ref. Do you give him time? Do you have to the guy stand? How long he was standing next to him? Do you give him extra time? Or
Okay.
how do you do it as a ref?
As I say, I don't gamble, and I'm not into big conspiracy theories. Oh my God! But I don't know how much you can get down on these things. But
50,000, by the way.
50,000.
They limit you to 50K. Yeah, I just try it. I'm never gonna ever put that. I just want to see the limits. Yeah.
he just keeps typing zeros until it stops.
What's stopping Joey Chestnut? He's going to win by 20 hot dogs anyways, from shaving a few dogs and pocketing a big payday on the side. I'm just asking the questions.
I like that.
He's already got 14 before this one.
I've seen people on Twitter were wanting spreads on his competitions now because he's going to win it every year. There's no reason.
Well, there's a lot. That's what you're talking about. There's a lot of food competitions, not just this one. There's so many, but they don't have lines for that. Obviously, they have the one that's on ESPN. Yeah. But I mean, they're doing it a lot. There could be lines on a lot more, like donut eating.
Couple years, just you wait.
All right. So you guys, what are you going to compete and eat at if it's a July 4th food? What is it? What is it going to be?
I want to see how quickly I can get a sunburn, which is what I'm about to do in a couple hours. Yeah.
I feel like I could do potato salad.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I can do cereal. I could do multiple bowls of cereal. I don't know if I had to drink.
I just wanted to think about what I'm not going to get sick of,
Pizza?
I think
I'm not getting sick of
everything.
pizza.
That's a lot of bread.
I think you're getting sick of everything.
Yeah.
Really?
That much of it. I don't know that.
Depends on the time limit.
I can do that. Just whatever you haven't had recently. But anyways, all right. Thanks for joining us. Holiday edition and end of the week Pro Football Doc Sports Injury Central podcast. We digressed a little bit for the holidays with hot dog eating, but glad we got Bob Nightengale on. And remember, full bore into football. Team previews coming. Quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends done, and. No, unfortunately, the latest Michael Thomas video has not changed our mind on our assessment of him. Thanks for watching.